Hi, and welcome to Yoga with Glenn. I'm Glenn. Today I have a nice flow for you that is perfect for your pre-run workout. If you're an avid runner, this is great for both the body and the mind. If you're not a runner, that's okay. You can still do this. It's great for the hips, great for the core. If you're looking for a post-run yoga flow, you can find that here. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hop into something comfortable, maybe your running gear, hop on your mat, and let's get started. To begin our practice today, meet me here in Tadasana, or mountain pose. Feet hip width apart, toes pointed forward. Nice strong legs, a lot of energy, sucking the muscle to the bone. The hips nice and level, not tilting back, not tilting forward, side to side. Torso nice and strong, or trunk nice and strong. Chest, heart space open, behind the back, in the shoulder blades, that's open as well, not scrunched together. Nice and even and open. The palms, a little bit of space between the arms and the side body, and the palms either face each other or face out. And your gaze is forward and slightly up with the chin level to the ground. This is proper mountain pose. Now begin and shift weight over to one side and bend the leg, and we'll take a nice quad stretch here. If you have a chair, maybe a wall you want to hold on to for some extra stability, feel free to do so. In this stretch, we're not really cranking on our leg too much. Whatever you have, wherever your stopping point is, especially before a pain point if you have any of those, just stop there. Just nice, easy bend. Try to keep this knee pointed towards the ground if you're able to. And when you're ready, or if you've lost your balance, completely okay, release that. Then shift weight into the opposite foot, and same thing. Grab the ankle, you can grab the foot if you like, and grab the inside of the foot if you really like to. And again, hold on to that chair, hold on to that wall if you need to. And don't apply too much pressure here. Just trying to lengthen the quad just a little bit, just as a nice little warm-up for this yoga flow today. When you're ready, go ahead and release. Load up into the legs, nice energy here, and circle the arms up with an inhale, touching the palms overhead. With an exhale, take a lateral bend over to your right. Try to keep the biceps by the ears, arms nice and straight. And the hips, try not to press them out too much. Try to keep even pressure in the feet as you do this. Core, nice and strong. A little bit of bracing here. If you'd like to learn more about bracing, I actually have a whole yoga flow just on the core, focused on the core. You can find that right here somewhere if you'd like to watch that after this video. Follow along. When you're ready, inhale back to center, and exhale, lateral bend to the opposite side. Remember, even pressure in the feet here, biceps by the ears, try to keep the arms straight. You don't have to go too far with this. We're just getting started, just getting warmed up in this flow today. When you're ready, inhale back to center, and then dive forward from here. Nice bend in the knees, deep bend. Try to rest the torso on the thighs. So this is our first forward fold of this session. Straighten one leg, feel the body sway. Rebend, straighten in the other. Feel the body sway to the opposite side. Feel the lengthening in the backside body as you lengthen the hamstrings. Go ahead and repeat. Other side. Rebend. Straighten the other leg. Rebend. And when you're ready, circle the arms up with an inhale. Stand tall. Touch the palms overhead and take a lateral bend over to your right again. Really breathe into it. Don't forget to breathe throughout this whole practice. Nice, easy bend. Doesn't have to be a lot. Inhale back to center. And exhale, opposite side. Remember, even pressure in the feet. Biceps by the ears. If you'd like, you can turn one armpit out. Maybe turn it back as you're in this bend and see how the treatment changes for you. Inhale back to center. And really load up into these legs. drive the arms up, and then swan dive. Forward, forward fold. I'm going to turn on my mat here, but if you're facing the correct way on your mat, go ahead and stay where you are. Same thing, nice bend in these knees. Rest the chest against the knees. Nice deep forward fold. You can sway back and forth, side to side if you like. Straighten one leg. Same thing, rebend, straighten the other. When you're satisfied with that, plant the hands towards the front of your mat. Step back with the legs into high plank. And then lower the knees to the mat for a nice table posture. Shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. We're going to go through a couple rounds of cat-cow here. These are great for the spine, great for the core. Now let's begin in the cow pose that we know, tailbone up to the sky. Really drop that belly, lift the chin, lift the chest. Breathe here, take an extra breath. When we're ready, we're going to exhale in the cat pose, but we're going to move from the hips first. So the chest and chin, belly stays where they're at. Move from the hips, tucking that tailbone. And when you're ready, start to round the back, sending that spine up towards the sky. Tailbone nice and tucked, and then the chin will fall towards the chest. Take an extra breath here in your cat pose. This is really good for spinal control, core control. When you're ready, and with an inhale, we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to send the tailbone up to the sky first, and then slowly dropping the belly, and the rest of the spine follows. Really breathe into that belly. Take an extra breath here. And when you're ready, go ahead and tuck the tailbone. When you feel it's right, the rest of the spine follows, sending the back up towards the sky. Shoulder blades wrapping around the rib cage. Chin falls towards the chest. Really squeezing the glutes here. And then with an inhale, from the hips first, move the hips, and then the rest of the spine follows. And let's turn up this treatment. Let's bend the elbows a little bit and really focus on sending that tailbone to the sky and the belly towards the ground. And then let's do the opposite. We'll tuck the hips, tuck the tailbone. Rest of the spine rounds, chin falls towards the chest. Really press that back up towards the sky. And to intensify or enhance this treatment, come up onto the fingertips like these spider fingers, or almost like you have a cupcake under your hand. Come up on the spider fingers and walk your hands back towards your knees for super cats. When you're ready, you can drop the palms back down to the mat, back to your neutral table posture. Now tuck your toes if they're not tucked already. Press yourself back into downward dog. And since this is our first downward dog, we can pedal out the feet. Really press through the earth with the hands. Space between the biceps and the ears. Not scrunching up in the back, but really pressing through. When you're ready, lift the right foot for three-legged dog. Step your foot up between the hands. Left foot follows. And with an inhale, we'll halfway lift. And exhale, we'll fold. And inhale, we'll rise. Circling our arms up, touching the palms overhead. And bring the hands down to heart center. Really load up into these legs. Drive our arms and hands forward. Slight back bend. And I'm going to swan dive so I don't crash through this window, but swan dive forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Planting the hands, stepping back with the right foot. And then we'll rise up into high lunge. Nice power in this back leg. Try to keep the back leg straight while you're in your high lunge. Not tilting the ribs forward and out, but nice and strong, nice braced core here. And exhale, hands back down to the mat. Step back into high plank, shift forward, lower down, chaturanga vinyasa, flip the feet, and either high cobra or upward facing dog. Flip the toes again with an exhale, press back into downward facing dog. Now lift the left leg in the air, three-legged dog. With an exhale, step that forward between the hands. And we're going to set ourselves up for another high lunge, so nice and strong in this back leg. And then rise up, high lunge, exhale down, hands to mat. Step forward into halfway lift with an inhale. And exhale, fold, and inhale, rise. Circling the arms up, touching the palms overhead, and bring the hands down to heart center. Load up into the legs, circle our arms up, touch the palms overhead, slight back bend, and then swan dive forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthening the spine, lengthening through the crown. And exhale, fold, plant the hands, step back with the left leg this time. Nice and strong in this back glute here. And then rise up into high lunge, keeping your balance. Exhale down, hands to mat. Step back into high plank, shift forward, lower down once more, flip the toes, chaturanga vinyasa, flow through. When you're ready, meet me in downward facing dog with that exhale. With an inhale, lift the right leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, step that through between the hands. And rise up into high lunge once more. Exhale down, hands to mat. Step the left foot forward and inhale for a halfway lift. And exhale, fold. And inhale, rise again. Circling the arms up, touch the palms overhead, and bring the hands down to heart center. Now take a step wide on your mat. Toes pointed out about 45 degrees. Hands on the knees here. And now the goal is to keep your knees tracking over your toes. So proper leg position, not diving in, not out too far. Then we're just going to twist from the torso. This is great for the core, strengthening the core, warming up that spine still. Inhale back to center and exhale over to the opposite side, really dropping that shoulder towards the center. Keeping proper knee alignment over the toes the whole time, not diving in. Inhale back to center. Exhale, that shoulder falls towards the middle. Inhale back to center. And exhale over to the opposite side. We bring that shoulder into the center. Inhale back to center. And then exhale, fold from here. Walk the feet out. Toes pointed forward. Outside edge of the foot is even or parallel with the end of the mat. Nice wide-legged forward fold here. You should be so wide that your wrists stack over your ankles. If they don't, a little bit slightly, a less wide stance than that is completely okay too. While we're here in our wide-legged standing forward fold, go ahead and walk over to the right side with your hands. Grab a hold of that that right ankle. And then take a twist with the right arm. Try to point the fingers straight up into the sky. And exhale, release. That momentum takes you over to the opposite side. Right arm on the left ankle. And then when you're ready, left arm out to a T. And then twist up. Then inhale. And when you're ready, exhale. Back down to the center. In your wide-legged forward fold. Place your hands on your hips, and this is going to take a little bit of core strength. But place your hands on your hips, and then from the hips, we're going to stand tall. We can extend our arms up to the sky for star pose. And then when you're ready, arms straight up in the air. And this is going to take hinging at the hips, and this is going to take a little bit of core power. So really brace that core, and then fold straight forward, hinging from the hips, back into our wide-legged standing forward fold. Now walk yourself back over, facing the front of your mat. Go ahead and drop the left knee to the ground. And hands, place your hands, one hand on the outside of the right foot, another hand on the opposite side of the mat. And this is our, I guess you'd call it a low runner's lunge. Now we can make that more active by really squeezing this left glute, really straightening that leg. This is the really active version. Or if you like, you can do a more passive version where your knee is on the ground, but you're still getting that nice stretch in the hip here. A nice stretch for the adductors, the muscles that move the leg in. So in your runner's lunge, choose which one you want. You can have the passive version or the more active version. Just a few breaths here in this runner's lunge. This is really great for the hips. Your right side is in hip flexion. Your left side is in hip extension. So you're extending the hips when you're squeezing the glutes here. When you're stretching the glutes, the hips are flexed. And when you're ready, really plant that left hand on the mat. Bring your right hand on the inside of the foot, and you can walk that foot out just a couple steps into a lizard lunge variation. And same thing, you can have a more passive expression of this posture, or if you like, you can have a more active. For this one, since I just did an active expression, I'll do a more passive expression here. But this right side, we're going to roll over the outside of the right ankle, really opening up that hip. And if you don't have a lot of mobility and a lot of movement here, that's completely okay. Just try a little bit and try roll over that ankle. Whatever you got is completely okay. So with an inhale and exhale, we're going to roll over that ankle. And if you can, try to bend at the elbows. If you're at a point where you feel like this is too much, I'm trying to press to the earth, and you're not this mobile, you can definitely set either a pillow or a bolster, blocks, whatever you have under your hands here, just to raise the ground up a little bit and maybe make this more accessible for you. But we're back up to center, our foot's flat on the ground, and then exhale. We're going to roll over that ankle, bend the elbows a little bit, intensify this treatment. I'm going to get a good stretch on that hip. Inhale back to center, lift the chin, lift the chest, foot flat on the ground, and exhale. Round, chin falls towards the chest, opening that hip. And inhale, back to center. Now rock back until you're comfortable enough to bring this right leg into that table posture position. Now if we're going to do the other side, and if this is too much on the knee, you can certainly place a blanket or something underneath your knees just to make this a little bit more comfortable for you. No reason you have to suffer. So we're going to get into that runner's lunge. And again, you can have the more passive version with the back knee on the ground, where you can really activate that glute, really straighten that leg. The more active version of this. And same thing, if you're here and you feel like you're getting too much of a stretch, you can certainly place some blocks or a pillow, a bolster, or something under your hands just to raise the ground, make it a little bit more accessible. But let's take a few breaths here in this runner's lunge. Remember, now this side is in hip flexion because we're flexing the leg up towards our body. And this is in hip extension because we're extending our hip, we're extending our leg. This is important, especially for runners, because you're working between those two, extension and flexion as you run. So this is a nice stretch for both. One side active, one side passive. When you're satisfied here and you're ready, with an exhale, go ahead and drop that knee. Go ahead and take the left hand on the inside of the left foot. Walk that foot out, maybe a step or two. And again, if you're here and you don't have anything under your hands to raise the ground up, you can certainly take this time, grab a bolster if you'd like, just to place your hands here, make this a little bit more accessible. And again, you can be passive with the knee on the ground, or you can be active here in this lizard lunge, whatever you'd like to do. And you can even, if this is too high, maybe place your forearms on the bolster if you like. Wherever you're at, follow along. So we'll inhale, lift the chest and chin, and then exhale, round the back, chin falls towards the chest, and then roll over the outside of this left ankle, opening this left hip. With an inhale, come up, foot flat on the ground, lift the chest, lift the chin, and exhale. We'll round again, opening the hip, rolling over the outside of the left ankle, chin falls towards the chest. And inhale, lift the chest, lift the chin, sole of the foot flat on the earth. And one more time, exhale, and round. When you're ready, inhale, lift the chest, lift the chin, and then slowly rock back so you can get yourself into a nice table posture. If you have any props, you can remove those now. Go ahead and tuck the toes if they're not already. Press yourself back into downward facing dog. And now, if you remember, try to feel the difference between this downward dog and the last one. Now that we've really opened our hips a little bit, maybe you're feeling a little bit more loose. Maybe you feel this posture is now more accessible to you. And if it is, that's great. Lift the right leg into the air, three-legged dog, with an inhale and exhale. Step that through between the hands. Now while you're still low here, set yourself up for a warrior two. Front toes pointed forward, knees stacked over the toes. The front heel should be in line with the middle of the back foot. Back toes pointed straight out. And when you're ready, rise up into warrior two. So this one is great because now we're opening the hips again. Really, when you're running, you're only running straight forward. So if you run, you're an avid runner, your hips really usually never open like this. So this is great to really get those hips open, just like the last postures were. But from our warrior two, we're going to keep our lower body still, nice and active in the glutes, really opening, trying to open that hip. And then we're going to move from the torso only. Try not to move this front leg as you move back into reverse warrior. And then come forward for extended side angle. Come back again for reverse triangle. And then rock forward with an exhale. Windmill the hands to the ground. Keep the left hand planted and take a twist over the right knee, and exhale, hand back down to the mat, step back into high plank, and press back into downward facing dog. Now, same thing, opposite side, lift the left leg, three-legged dog with an inhale, and exhale, step that through, and while we're low here, I'm going to set ourselves up for a nice warrior two, front toes pointed forward, knees stacked over those toes, back heel in line with the middle of the back foot, and the back toes pointed straight to the side. And when you're ready, rise up into that warrior two, really opening the hips, nice and strong in the glutes. And remember to keep the lower body as still as you can as we move the trunk or the core. Again, if you want to go and get a nice core workout, you can really check out that core power video. So from the trunk only, try to leave the back legs alone. With an inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale again, reverse triangle, straighten the front leg. And then exhale, bend the knee, windmill the arms down, turn the back foot, keep the right hand planted on the earth, and take a twist over the left knee. And exhale, return the hand to the mat, step back into high plank, and press back into downward facing dog. Now lift the right leg again, three-legged dog. Take a step forward, and then while you're here low, try to walk the back foot in a little bit. You're going to set yourself up for what would normally be your warrior one, so a little bit shorter of a stance. This back foot pointed out maybe 30, 45 degrees or so. And when you're ready, rise up, but straighten the front leg, and then fold over this front leg with it straightened. And this is pyramid pose. If you need blocks or pillow or bolster or anything under your hands, make this a little bit more accessible. You can grab that, but really try to keep this front leg straight. Really feel that stretch on the glute, that stretch on the hamstring. As we breathe into this pyramid pose. If you really need to, you can have a slight micro bend in this front knee if it's bothering you, but try to keep it straight. Go ahead and rebend into that leg. Plant the hands and step forward with the back foot. And while we're here, we'll step back with the opposite side, the right side in my case. And again, try to set yourself up for that warrior one. Nice bend in the front knee, back foot, toes pointed out, maybe 30, 45 degrees, just enough to keep the back heel on the ground. And when you're ready, from the hips, we'll rise up into our warrior one. Straighten that front knee, and then we're going to fold over the front leg for this pyramid pose. If you need a bolster or blocks again, this is a good time to grab them just to raise that floor up, make this more accessible. Same option too, you can have a micro bend, but really you want to really feel that stretch in the glute, that stretch in the hamstring here. Make sure you breathe into this posture. Chin falls towards the chest. When you're ready to exit this posture, rebend into the front leg, and then rise up into that warrior one, and step towards the front of your mat, and bring your hands down to heart center. Go ahead and adjust your clothes if you need to, adjust your hair. I'm sure my hair is pretty crazy. But step again towards the front of your mat, or the side of your mat. I'm going to step to the side. You can face the front if you like, if you have enough room. Feet slightly wider than shoulder width, toes pointed out a little bit. And we're going to slowly squat down, keeping those knees over those toes. Don't let them dive in. We have some nice control here. Going to squat down into Malasana, or our yogi squat. Knees pop, as mine always do. Try to press against your elbows with your thighs and press out with your elbows against your thighs. Try to hold this squat. This is a great stretch on the hips here. And when you're satisfied, when you've had enough, go ahead and lower your hands to the earth, pike the hips up, and then I'm going to turn from here, but set yourself into a table posture, and then bring a leg forward into a low lunge. And then this part, I recommend something under the knees, just to make this a little bit more comfortable. I'm going to grab a blanket. But set yourself up in that low lunge. And bend the back knee. Try to grab that back foot with the left side if you're working on the same side as I am. So opposite arm, opposite leg. And then we're going to twist over this left knee, and we're going to try to look up behind us at the sky. And this is a revolved low lunge with a bind. This is a great cross-body stretch that we can do. Get our hips in extension and flexion at the same time, but still get some mobility in the spine as a stretch. And when you're ready, and with an exhale, release the leg, plant the hand towards the mat, bring yourself back to center, and bring this leg back into a neutral table posture. And when you're ready, send the other foot forward for this low lunge, this low runner's lunge, if you will. Now bend in the back leg, right arm, or wherever you're at, opposite leg, opposite arm. Try to open the shoulders up as you stretch here. Keep the sole of the foot on the ground, and really try to open yourself up. So we're in hip flexion, we're in hip extension, and we're really rotating, trying to get the best twist, the best stretch possible. Another breath here. And when you're ready, and with an exhale, slowly release the leg. Slowly come back to center. Come back into your table posture. And go ahead and remove the blanket off to the side. Knees wide on the mat, big toes to touch. And sink back into a much deserved child's pose. Resting the head on the mat. Now is a good chance to exhale through the mouth, just to let that heat out. Really breathe into the lower back here. Now with an inhale, you're going to look up to the front of your mat. And you're going to keep your chest low as possible to the ground and slink forward into a low cobra. With an inhale and exhale, round the back for cat pose, and then exhale down into child's pose. And we're going to repeat that 2 more times, just to try to stay as low as possible to the ground as you slink forward. Keep that chest low. And when you get to the top, inhale for a low cobra. Slink forward, chest low as possible to the ground. Inhale, low cobra, pressing the feet on the ground. And then back into cat pose. And then down into child's pose. After a breath or 2 here in child's pose. One last time, look to the front of the mat. And then slink forward all the way to your belly. Inhale, low cobra. And exhale, back down. Rounding the back for cat's pose. And then down into child's pose. That little series is great for really mind-body connection, feeling all the different parts of your body move and controlling them by trying to stay as low as possible. After your next exhale, inhale, come up for table posture, and we'll swing our legs around, come onto our bottom, soles of the feet on the earth, in the upper third of your mat or so. Extend the arms out, and then slowly, 1 vertebrae at a time, slowly roll onto your back. Soles of the feet stay on the earth. Plant the hands on the mat, palms facing down. Move your heels close to your glutes, maybe so your index finger will touch the heels. And with an inhale, press up with the hips for a bridge pose. Try to keep the knees at hip width. Try not to let them spill out. Really open the chest here. Really squeeze the glutes, squeeze the hamstrings. And exhale, slowly roll down. A breath here. When you're ready, inhale, press up for bridge. Really open that chest. Really squeeze those glutes. Really try to push the hips up towards the sky. And exhale, roll back down from the top of your back down to the tailbone. One last time with an inhale. Press the hips up. It's a great heart opener. Also a great little activation for the glutes. And exhale, roll back down. Extend the right leg. Place the right ankle over the left knee. And take a hold between this little four that you have, this little triangle. Right arm goes through there, left arm on the outside. Interlace the fingers and just lay back, head against the ground, shoulders against the ground. It's a great stretch for the hips, really opening the hips up one last time. This bound figure four. Inhale, extend the left leg. Exhale down, place the sole of the foot on the ground. With your arms out at a T, twist over to your left side. Sole of the right foot down on the ground. You can make this a little bit more passive by bringing this right knee up towards the armpit, or a little bit more active if you want to have the right knee kind of down away from you, pressing down away from you. After your next exhale, inhale, float your knees back up to center, and exhale, just a breath or two, over to the opposite side. After your next exhale, float the knees back to center. Extend the right leg, place the sole of the right foot on the ground. Same thing, opposite side. Extend the left leg, place the left ankle over the right knee, and take that same bind, the left hand between the legs, right hand on the outside of the thigh, interlace the fingers, opposite stack of the fingers this time. Really lay back, shoulders on the ground, back of the head on the ground. Now, if you don't have quite the same flexibility that you have on the opposite side, that's okay. I feel like I don't. I feel like I have less mobility on this side, stretching the left side. And that's okay. Call that the student side. And the side that you're very flexible on, we call that the teacher side. Extend the right leg. Place the sole of the right foot on the ground. Arms out to a T, and then take a twist, placing the sole of the left foot on the ground, in this figure four twist, outside of the right ankle on the ground. Same options apply. You can have more passive by letting the knee fold towards the armpit, or a little bit more active where you, a little bit of activation in the glute, sending that knee away from you. Nice deep breaths. When you're ready, after an exhale, inhale, float the knees back up to center. And then a breath or two over to the opposite side. After your next exhale, inhale, flip those legs back to center. Extend the left leg, place the sole of the left foot on the ground. Roll over onto your side and press yourself up into a table posture. I'm going to face you for this one. Press yourself back into a downward facing dog. Walk your hands towards your feet and your feet towards your hands. Meet yourself in the middle. When you're in this nice forward fold, when you're ready, I want you to slowly roll yourself up, one vertebrae at a time, first by extending your legs, rolling yourself up nice and slow. When you get to the top, our arms come up. With an inhale and exhale, bring the hands down to heart center. Sure, my hair is crazy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this works and you're ready to go on your run. Hopefully I've opened up the hips. Hopefully I've warmed up the spine and the core for you. If I did, please tell me how it went for you down in the comments. And I thank you for joining me. Enjoy your run, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.